if there is something above the basic human needs, that quality which connects all human beings is their urge to communicate with each other. Beyond the basic needs, communication is a must for every human being. See any great development in history. Everything which is invented, if you think is a great invention, is geared towards this goal of helping humans communicate with each other. They have a basic urge to communicate. Either they want to go from one place to other, physical, or they want to exchange their feelings and ideas. Wheels and steam engines help meet the physical movement requirement of humans. All the others, if you take anything, have helped humans to communicate with each other. Any technology at any point of time, if it helps humans to communicate with each other, it will always be successful. So when a tool, a service like Twitter succeeds, Orkut succeeds, Facebook succeeds, we should not be surprised. Because humans want to communicate with each other. And let me distinguish. Humans want to communicate without any control structure. If you take the communication technologies, they always can be classified under two categories: top-down, bottom-up. Top-down communication, even though they appear to be successful for a point of time, their success will be very, very brief. When given a choice, people will always choose bottom-up technologies over top-down technologies. Telephone is an example of bottom-up technology which helps people connect to each other. Television is a top-down technology. Somebody broadcasts, others are passive viewers. You can observe that for a brief period of time, the era of television seems to be going up and up. But after a point, they will realize that without user interaction, they cannot be successful. Therefore, you are also saying your SMS. Take any technology, you can understand it like this. Top down, bottom up, given a choice, bottom always succeeds. In the history of humankind, perhaps for the first time, Internet was the first technology give the ultimate power of communication to people. Telephones could be tapped. Letters came under strict, censoring. Internet remained out of all this censoring for a long time. One of the strongest points of today's internet is this gap of not having any central governance, of not adhering to any national rules. This was not possible in any other technology. That is why internet is very important for us. In fact, in most of the technologies, there will be an option between top-down and bottom-up. Let me give the example of radio. Radio, for a long time, was not top-down technology, it was bottom-up. But today, any effort to make it bottom-up is controlled very heavily. Ham, I am talking of ham radio. Ham, very strictly controlled. As I keep repeating, anything which is centralized, government will always be interested in that. Anything decentralized, government sees, whatever the government is, whatever the state is, they see it as a threat. what is the first thing they will go and capture? The media. Because they fear that information in the hands of people will empower. The real use of printing press was to herald Renaissance in Europe. It is because of printing press that Renaissance happened in Europe. That is the power of knowledge. So you should look at internet from all this perspective. And internet in its very short span has taken all the good qualities of earlier communication technology. See, there are basically three types of technologies, communication technologies. Let us call it read technologies, read-write technologies, and read-write technologies and read technologies. For example, television is a read technology. I call it read technology because whatever they send, you are just reading it. In the classical sense, but you are just absorbing it. Very few technologies have emerged wherein there is a read-write facility available. Before internet, these kind of technologies, though they were few, were very, very limited. Any society which has a free-flowing, read-write kind of technology which is existing will be a very powerful society. Ancient Greeks had such a system. They called it municipality. Democracy emerged because of such ideas, wherein everybody should engage in free exchange of information. Then later they recognized that such a system will lead to chaos, and then different political thoughts emerged. Internet has given us a hope. For the first time in the history of humankind, there is a technology where it promises equal access and equal power to everyone. No other technology has given you the power. Technology always remains in the hands of few powerful people. State-controlled printing press for a long time. Television. We can't start a television channel today. Though there is a technique, though there is a theoretical possibility, can we start a television channel to propagate my ideas? No. The kind of investment required prohibits me from entering that. Can I start a radio station? No. But can I start an enterprise in internet? Yes. What internet has done is it has leveled the playing field. The resources available to me and my competitor are same. This is the advantage of it. So if a company which has billions of dollars has profits, the kinds of tools it has access to and the investment it has to do to start a website, I have this equal opportunity to start a website with the equal access. This is the beauty of internet. Looking at a different perspective, this is the greatest threat in India. In the real world, if you want to beat the competition, you can infuse huge amount of funds. Set up a big showroom which your competitor cannot match. But in internet, every XYZ person is your competitor. Your customers will move from your side to other side with a click of a mouse. The threat to the competition is a click of a mouse and nothing else. So what has internet done for today's business? If you want to realistically analyze, you should go back and study all this and then come back and understand. As I said, when we are studying this, we should see all the three C's: communication, collaboration and cooperation. Computers are connected to each other. Please understand. Computers are connected to each other. results and conclusions. Meaning, when you say that I am launching a website, I am not very sure how many people I am targeting. My target customer may be located in any part of this world. I don't have an idea. This is not so in traditional media. Look at traditional media. If you give an advertisement in a local newspaper, you precisely know who will read it. You can estimate the number of people who will be reading this also. If you give an advertisement in a particular channel in television, you will know who will be watching it. What is my target audience? But in internet, you can't.
As you said, sir, that in internet there is a good amount of, there is equal opportunity given to every institution or person. Sir, let's suppose there is an existing company, Naukri.com, and I start my own company with not so much money as they have. So they have their ads in all the websites, Yahoo, and all such websites. Every other website you open has a Naukri.com, Monster.com ad. I am not able to advertise the same thing. Then that is why internet has supported a person who has money, and I am not being supported by internet in that.
When I say internet, I speak about the technology. I speak about the backbone technology which supports this transfer of information. What I am trying to say is, if he invests say 5,000 rupees to get some amount of space in a web server, your investment level is also that much to start. What happens after that? Of course, you are saying that he may advertise in 10 different websites. I am not. Just because he advertises in 10 different websites, what is the guarantee that his traffic will be more? There is no guarantee, though there is a possibility. And just because you do not advertise does not mean that there will be no traffic. I feel in internet, the concepts of visitors, hits and other things have been hyped. I was telling this in a very different context. Let me explain this. When you say that I have launched a website for a campaign, let us say Pink Chutney campaign or anything like that, and in a day there are 50,000 people who have visited this, or I have started a Orkut group and in a day there are so many people who have subscribed to this, it does not mean that they are actually interested or they will come and support your cause. When I am wandering in the digital space, I just click. Click does not mean my dedication, my support to that cause. Tomorrow if I am asked to come to the ground for a protest, I really wonder how many of them will actually turn up. So these things are overhyped in cyber world. The number of visitors and the number of people who actually convert into real customers in the cyber world is very, very small. Let me put from my own research, if you have not observed. I had done a research on a very huge database like SourceForge.net, wherein there are 2 million users as claimed by SourceForge.net. There are 2 million registered users and 2 lakh projects. I did a study of SourceForge.net for 4.5 years. Last Saturday I defended my thesis successfully. In 4.5 years study which I did, I found that only 10% of the people who register in SourceForge.net actually come and join any projects. Only 10%. Why don't 90% of the others who are there in SourceForge.net don't attach themselves to the project? And in that 10%, only 4% of them actually do the work. So if you take the entire SourceForge.net where there are 2 million people, only 0.04% of the people work. So you can't go with the numbers. .com may give advertisements in 100 websites. It's not guaranteed, though there is a possibility of getting it. And you should not think low of yourself because you can't advertise. As I said, take for example a non-partisan search engine like Google. Google ranking is not based on reputation of a website. It is not based on the ability of a company to pay for increasing its ranking. That is why when I say that Google should be supported, when I say Wikipedia should be supported, I am telling that mainly because to retain the intrinsic character of internet of being democratic, we should support it. Otherwise what will happen is a search engine, I don't want to name, who is very notorious for taking money and improving the rankings, will come to center stage. That should not happen. This is the last hope we have. If internet fails, this will be the biggest blunder of mankind. Internet should not fail. When I say internet should not fail, I am saying that the trust factor which moves internet. Internet is based on trust. That we will be failing ourselves. Right? So, as I conclude today's talk, I want to make one forceful point. For a long time, internet has been focusing on communication. You see any service on internet. I don't know if chatting is a serious business today or not. When I was a student, chatting was a very big thing. Go chat. Now I think they have been slowly replaced by social networking things. You take from chatting to whatever is the latest trend. They all focus on communication. Communication. It is time that you seriously think on other two aspects: collaboration and cooperation. So in my next lecture, I will focus on the future of internet, the possibilities of internet in engaging the networking technologies and the users for meaningful collaboration and cooperation. I stop.